Welcome to 3 Count Commentary. Let's talk about this dreadful, absolutely dreadful episode of AEW Dynamite. Before we do, our boy Ricky Starks cut into the idea behind the 4 pillars, and I want to discuss that. I really want to talk about that. So what we're going to do is we're going to play some of the audio of what he had to say about the 4 pillars, about the entire concept and everything. Then we're going to get into the show. This is the only real thing from news and notes that I want to discuss. And I guess we'll talk about CM Punk coming back too. But to me, that's less interesting than what he had to say.
And the fact that you should be mentioned as a pillar.
Well, can I speak on that? I actually hate the idea of pillars.
It's weird.
I loathe the idea of a pillar because, one, it's a full gimmick, and it came from one guy who there's nothing behind it. You get what I'm saying? To say that these 4 dudes are the pillar of the company, you know what you're doing by saying that? F everybody else who did anything. Those people don't matter. It's these 3 guys that we deemed. I have bestowed this sacred title upon thee, and I want you to go forth and do with it. No, I don't.
So this is no doubt something similar to what a lot of people have been saying, but it's weird coming from an actual wrestler that's in the actual locker room. Now, you can heard that he actually says that it was bestowed upon them by one guy. And you could say, who is the one guy? You know, it's no doubt it's got to be Tony Khan, right? But think about how limiting that is, you know? We've been saying for a long time, this entire concept of the 4 pillars being, these are the 4 most important guys for our future in AEW. Of course, it eliminates anybody who comes afterwards. And, you know, it's not even really accurate, considering most of these guys are not that important. And he's going to get into that. But I always take into account that this could be gimmick, could be character, but I don't think so. Especially when he gets into this a little bit later, I don't think so.
Believe in that. It's a very sweet gesture to say Ricky should be considered a 5th pillar. Baby, I don't need to be a pillar, okay? I can be a foundation. I can be the roof. I can be the person outside maintaining the lawn. I don't need none of that. Because to me, that's a box within itself. 4 pillars, you got me. What? 4 pillars? 4 pillars of what? Name one coliseum that you know that's famous. I bet you couldn't even do that. So, to say that these 4 guys are the ones that are going to make and break, let's see the numbers. Y'all want to talk about ratings? Let's see the ratings for y'all 4, huh? Let's see how much money y'all making. If y'all want to keep bringing up all this bullshit, let's see it. Pen to paper. How are the quarterly hours doing when y'all are on TV? Let's see it. I want to.
So we know that MJF has been going on and on and on about being the highest quarterly rated, whatever. AEW is getting real petty with the ratings thing. But I guess MJF quarter by quarter is the highest rated wrestler, him and CM Punk, I guess, in AEW. So he would be one, I guess you could point out to say, you know, why is Ricky Stark saying this? Because it is, at least to my knowledge, just a fact that MJF is mostly a draw. Can't say the same thing for everybody that's in the 4 pillars. Can't say the same thing for everybody. But I do believe that it does apply to MJF. But it's something to look into. And this is where he sounds legit to me, you know. And yes, I am ignoring how saucy Ricky Stark sounds. You know, I don't know. He's from New Orleans. That's all I'm going to say. And if you don't get it, don't worry about it. All right. But he sounds a little frustrated, you know, but it is offensive. If you're a guy that's in there busting your ass and no matter what you do, you'll never be considered as important as Jungle Boy. I mean, that's kind of nutty. You know, Sammy Guevara's always over you. That doesn't make much sense. And there's been people, of course, throughout the history of AEW who's tried to do the old Britt Baker's a pillar and she should be considered one of the pillars. And I think I did a video, what was it, a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, where people were saying that she was more important than MJF, and I actually agreed because of the female angle to it. In terms of women's wrestling being heavily pushed in our society right now, Britt Baker, to have somebody that is actually talented and on the female side is actually a little bit more valuable than having a talented man right now. Because there's so many talented men. That's just, you think about it. You get one or two talented women, you could run a division. You could just cycle in all the mid chicks. You got one or two of them. You can't run a show with one or two really talented guys. So, but ultimately, people have said Britt Baker should be a pillar. Now people are saying that Ricky Starks should be one. I think that is, I kind of agree with Ricky though. It's kind of limiting, but I also think it's just very offensive because there have been guys who have come in and who have outperformed them. And then you also have to ask the question that why wasn't Hangman Page considered a pillar? He was a guy that essentially they ran around in circles telling you was going to be the world champion before the company even really launched. They told you that Hangman Page is going to be a top guy. They were going to make a world champion out of him. And they did so. They really put their mind into doing so, and then they ended up doing it. But he's not considered a pillar. Why is that? He wasn't young enough, was it that he was on Ring of Honor first? And I think all these pillars were basically guys that they plucked from obscurity. I think that was the point. Ricky Starks wouldn't even apply at that point because he was on NWA when it was actually good before, Billy Corgan snorted something that made him lose his mind. So I don't know, but I do think he's got a pretty good point here. And he sounds kind of salty about the entire subject.
Let's take it. The 4 pillars, hell yeah. My paycheck is signed by those 4 dudes. Hell yeah. Let me see. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. I don't even like the conversation. I don't even want to be included. Keep me away from that. Shit. I don't want that. I don't want to be considered a pillar. This ain't All Japan. You know what I'm saying? You don't know shit about All Japan, I bet. I tell Max to his face, you don't know nothing about All Japan. Come on. You just want you want a slogan and a t-shirt. I could give you that. I go to Chat GPT right now and get the AI to set us with something,
Oh boy. So many people are like, yeah, this guy's leaving. He ain't sticking around. The crazy thing is, why would Ricky leave and MJF is threatening to leave? So they're going to end up in the same fucking place. Ricky get on MJF's nerves. MJF get on his nerves. They both quit. They both go to WWE where they get on each other's nerves again. So I don't think so. That's not likely anyway. I don't think MJF is leaving, nor do I think Ricky Starks is leaving. It's just all about Tony Khan need to get his head out of his ass. He needs to stop fantasizing over all these dudes who keep screwing him over. I guess this brings us to CM Punk making his quote unquote triumphant return at Collision. It was announced that he was going to be on Collision. The announcement really tells the story in and of itself, not just because Tony Khan made sure to blink this time. He was blinking almost on cue now. So somebody is training him to blink. He's getting some really good training in order to make sure he's blinking correctly. But announcing that CM Punk is there tells you about the ticket sales for Collision. They have been really concerned about Collision's ticket sales. They have been, people have been following it. Now there's people already on top of the before and after. Is CM Punk really going to move business that much? They better hope so, because I heard it wasn't looking very good. I heard a lot of the AEW tickets have not been moving that well. Forbidden Door is apparently not doing that well either. It's all very unfortunate. I don't revel in the lack of success that these guys are having right now. But it's very interesting, that they decided to announce CM Punk on that show, which is fine. But you still have to have some kind of intrigue in order to get people to want to watch it. which means if you're going to announce him to be there, you got to have him doing something. You don't just say he's going to be there, you know? This also kind of folds into, I guess, a MJF promo where he was talking about AEW's running out of time and they're also running out of competition. So it sounds like, you know, they're still doing this whole bidding war of 2024. MJF wants to leave. And he wants to take the title with him and all this kind of stuff. But they got an entire year to build this angle. That's a long time. That's a really long time. But it's a daunting task. I respect the fact that they're going for it. But you can't just say we're going to do a thing. We're going to have CM Punk on Collision. Okay, great. Now, what's going to make it different from the last time he was on TV? You know? I just feel like I'm tired of talking about CM Punk and he's not doing anything on television yet. To me, it feels like a horse that's been brutalized. You know, like we've gone over this already. Of course he was going to be there. This was the entire point. They've been talking about this for months. So it wasn't that much of a surprise. What was a surprise, however, was the reactions that it got. The mixture of cheers and boos, but it seemed to be mostly boos. On TV, it was mostly cheers. But then you find some fan cam footage of people with the announcement, and you hear mostly boos, actually. So I'm not sure how they managed. Did they do that in production? Did they, you know, turn up the production on the cheers and, you know, try to drown out the boos? Like, what did they do? I don't know. But those are people who are in the building. When they recorded the announcement, you can hear mostly boos. But if you watched it on TV, you can see mostly cheers. And you can still see people doing thumbs down and boo. But you still see people in CM Punk shirts chanting CM Punk, pumping their fists. So it might, I guess at best, it's a 60-40. You know, maybe 60-40 positive. But I guess the Elite have done their job. They have successfully turned a large segment of the audience against CM Punk. Let's see how it works for them at this point. And they desperately need them because this show was absolutely dreadful. Match one of an absolutely god-awful show, which is actually the high point of the show for me. The Blackpool Combat Club versus the Lucha Brothers and Bandito. I like everybody in this match with the exception of Wheeler Yuta. So I thoroughly enjoyed this match. It was good on location booking. They were in San Diego. San Diego is a really good Hispanic audience. Unfortunately, Lucha Brothers and Bandito lost, but you know that was to be expected. Bandito came out and he looked very weird. He had a tiny hammer and he had a cape, and I don't understand any of that. I don't understand where any of that came from, why any of that was occurring. He looks like a goof. He's wearing like little bitty antenna. I'm like, what is this? This must be something in Mexico. And he looks like a goddamn some out of a Disney theme park. Like what the hell is this thing? He looks ridiculous. And I was like, oh God. But the match in and of itself was very good. Bandito had Wheeler Yuta up for like a full 60 seconds in a suplex position, which, to be quite honest, should have probably made Wheeler Yuta pass out. Blackpool Combat Club like fighting outside the ring. They're picking up some of the worst aspects of Jon Moxley's game. Bryan Danielson is on commentary, putting over how Wheeler Yuta has grown. How, you know, he lost in the tag team championship match against the Lucha Brothers. So he rededicated himself, was punished, and that's how he was able to win at Double or Nothing. Now we got a new Wheeler Yuta who is, you know, quickly bouncing back from adversity, and he's tougher than ever. And I'm just looking at a guy, and it does come across like something out of Fight Club. Like some guy who worked in an office somewhere decides to go into a basement of an abandoned store and pretend that he's tough. That's what it's coming across. I don't care how bushy his beard is. I don't believe his strikes. I certainly don't believe those anvil elbow drops that he's doing. And that finisher that he's been doing is absolutely abysmal. It is one of the silliest looking moves I have ever seen. It's essentially a roll up. All right. It's essentially a crucifix pin. you're such a badass that you pin people with a crucifix move. You don't got like a big bad finisher that drops them on their head or, break their spine in half. Nah, I roll you up and hold your leg. Man, if you don't kick out of this goddamn move, man, this dude is like 145 pounds. It's not even like a lot of weight on your shoulders. Kick out of this move. Like, man, I wish Bandito's legit strong too. I wish Bandito would have kicked him in his ass and rolled him up the ramp. I like the match. This was the high point of the show as far as I'm concerned. But I just can't believe it. It only gets worse from here, bro. It only gets worse from here. And I'm telling you, it got really bad at some points. Tying into the Blackpool Combat Club, they're in the ring celebrating. We go to the Elite, where they claim that the Blackpool Combat Club brings out the worst in them, that they are the heart and soul of this place, and they are still swinging. They're not done yet. Then the Dark Order came in, and they were jealous that Hangman Page is hanging out with the Elite, and he went to go console them. I'm like, what the? Wow. Anyway, Omega, they ask him about Kenny Omega because he's the only member of the Elite that's not there, that he left the country. He went back home to Canada. So then they say, well, he left the country, but he's not in Canada. He didn't go back to Canada. Then that was kind of a clue that he's gone to Japan to recruit Kota Ibushi. We're not slow. And plus, Kota Ibushi almost immediately tweeted out or made a comment after Konosuke Takeshita turned heel, saying that Takeshita wasn't any good anyway and is trying to be like him and all this kind of stuff. So, I mean, you pretty much blew it up already what they're going to do for Forbidden Door. It's pretty much out there now. So let's go into that segment, Don Callis and Konosuke Takeshita, because this was a great reaction for this segment. Really good reaction. Don Callis is absolutely hated by these people. He said he did everything for Kenny Omega, that all the world titles were because of him. But Kenny Omega chose his friends, and even though they were supposed to be family, and he looks in the mirror every night and sees 23 stitches in his head, and that's Kenny Omega's fault. And that is Kenny Omega destroyed his family, and that means he lost a nephew, but he gained a son. Then he said Konosuke Takeshita is the best athlete he's ever seen. Then went down a list of Japanese pro wrestlers that Konosuke Takeshita is supposedly better than, including, I think he said Kawada, Okada, Yuji Nagata, a bunch of other people that most of the audience were just kind of like, what? If it was WWE, they'd have been like, what? And even in my brain, I'm like, what? I had a bucket of bolts for a brain for a little bit because I'm like, what? He's better than who? But afterwards, Takeshita says, we will destroy the Elite. We will destroy Kenny Omega. And he said it in really, really bad English. It was awful English. Then I'm sorry, not Omega, but Callis says that his new family will get the Elite out of AEW. And I'm saying the only way this makes sense, the only way this really helps, is if CM Punk is in Don Callis' family. Then it works. If that's not the case, I don't know what we're doing here. What group of people do you put together to combat the Elite? You're already off to a bad start with Takeshita. I mean, I guess he is a guy that everybody likes, so his heel turn makes sense to a degree. But you're already off on the wrong foot in terms of Konosuke Takeshita. But I like the promo overall. Don Callis, who was attacked and felt like Omega should have been by his side, but instead was more hanging out with the Elite. So he kind of got jealous. And since he's an evil mastermind and a no good rat bastard, he decided to corrupt Kenny Omega's friend, Konosuke Takeshita, to turn against him. But they're certainly going to need more manpower if they're going to be fighting the Elite. Okay, but you won't need much more, to be honest. We just need some bodies. Because the Elite, they're very small guys. I am having a hard time buying Takeshita as a heel, though. He just seems like such a... I mean, it's been funny because so many people have been disappointed by Takeshita turning heel. He's such a natural baby face. It's like, yeah, y'all been treating him like a goddamn puppy for the last year and a half. Oh, Takeshita, pinching his cheeks like you're his grandma or something like that. Like, stop it. Like, this dude is supposed to be a professional. Y'all been treating him like a little boy for like a whole year now. I'm glad he turned heel. Damn. You finally get to see something out of this guy. You know, all these, and these are grown men, because that's AEW's fan base. You got grown men that have been treating Takeshita like a purse puppy for a year and a half, man. Oh, don't say Takeshita, give me them sweet cheeks. Oh, look at you, you're big and grown up. Look at you. I'm like, come on. He's such a good wrestler. Look at him. I'm like, oh, get over it, please. All right, let's move on. Jay White and Juice Robinson. Oh, God, Juice Robinson, he's here. Christ on a cracker. So they decided to have a conversation. They said that Ricky Starks thinks he's at the top of the world because he eliminated them, but he also lost that battle royal just like he lost to Jay White. Then they were wondering why FTR decided to help Ricky Starks because Ricky Starks ain't got no friends. Then Jay White surmised that they're slow Southern boys, that they look a little slow, they sound a little slow. And then FTR came out there and got in their faces. At that point, Bullet Club Gold said, oh, you're here to apologize. You know, that's great. And then they said, well, maybe you're here to join Bullet Club Gold. You know, and you can do so as long as you act nicely. And then Jay White turns over the microphone. Before FTR Bald can go on about his daughter and the rest of that stuff, Juice Robinson punched him in the face with a roll of quarters. I mean, it was like Sonic the Hedgehog. Coins just went all over the place. I was dying laughing, bro. I was dying, man. This shit was hilarious. He punched dude, and it was like a bum dancing for change. It was just like change all over the place. So they jumped FTR hair and beat up Bald. And then Ricky Starks came out there with a steel chair and chased him off. Juice Robinson, Ricky! I'm like, oh, God. Can you hog tie this son bitch? You know, do something with this guy, man. This guy is awful. So Ricky Starks makes the challenge. Ends up being a one-on-one match between Jay White and Ricky Starks. You would thought they went the 6-man tag route, but they decided to go the one-on-one route, which to me is even better. I like the idea of Ricky Starks versus Jay White part 2. So I'm good with this. You know, hopefully it's the main event of the show next week. I'm not really a big fan of this Bullet Club Gold thing, but I guess it's something for Jay White to do, considering the top guy in the company is a heel right now, and you only need one top heel at the moment. So him being in the tag ranks is fine. I wish you could find a better partner than Juice Robinson. I mean, this Sharpay puppy that they got running around here. All right, the next match completely made no sense and was one of the times where I kind of just let the screen do its thing. Swerve Strickland versus Big Bill versus Trent Beretta. Really, who gives a shit? Who cares? Look, Swerve won. Who cares? Do I really want to watch Trent Beretta? No. Do I want to watch Big Bill? Nope, not really. I have no interest in either one of these guys. And I knew Swerve was going to win, and I don't even understand what the point of this was. It's supposed to be coming out of the Battle Royal. But so what about that damn Battle Royal? There's a bunch of people in that Battle Royal. Why did you pick 3 of them and say they're going to wrestle each other? Next week, I think, at least if I remember correctly, Swerve Strickland will be wrestling Orange Cassidy, who is a bulletproof midget, next week for the International Championship. I'm sure that's going to be just plain fun. I'm sure that's people are going to really enjoy that. We're all going to have so much fun with Strickland versus Orange Cassidy. Yay. You hear my enthusiasm? I'm trying really, really hard to contain it. There's a backstage segment for Chris Statlander when she talked about being feeling like she doesn't deserve this moment. That, you know, but it feels nice that she finally has something, and now she's going to be the best damn champion. I'm just kind of like, no, you don't really deserve it. You were kind of sitting at home doing nothing while somebody else was doing the work. And then you popped up and took the belt without doing the work. Like, if it wasn't look, I already said what I had to say on this subject in terms of Chris Statlander winning the TBS title in the way that she won it. It doesn't work with mid-carders. It only works with top guys or girls. It doesn't work with mid-carders. All right? You can't just have a mid-carder pop up, win a title, and then, it's all good. No. This sucks. She also wrestled Nyla Rose on this match, which was an absolute joke. In a match, I went to the bathroom until I didn't have to use the bathroom. I just went into the bathroom, shut the door, and hid from this match until it was over. So I didn't watch it. I do know that Chris Statlander won, though, because when I heard her music play again, I came out of the bathroom. So how about that? The Acclaimed and Billy Gunn, they cut a promo. They didn't have nothing to say, nothing at all, really. Billy Gunn was just upset that he had let the Acclaimed down, but the Acclaimed said they win together, they lose together, and that they got screwed out of the tag team titles, but Billy Gunn deserves to hold gold one more time. They didn't say what kind of gold, so I think they were looking at maybe him challenging for the TNT title or something like that. I don't know. But Billy Gunn getting a push in 2023 is immaculate pro wrestling. Between Billy Gunn and Christian being two of the most over guys in this company, how hilarious is that? How hilarious is that? I guess you could, Sting too. Sting, Billy Gunn, it's like 1998 all over again. Because we can't get it we can't get over it. Can't get over it at all. Next, Gates of Agony versus Orange Cassidy and Darby Allin. Now, this is the match that got me red-assed right here. This pissed me off. Because if you look at Gates of Agony, these two dudes, Toa Leona is massive. Khan is massive. Both look like professional athletes. Both look like tough guys. Both look like guys who will kill you. Both look like warriors from a video game. All right, they look like something out of Street Fighter. These two dudes, these guys are ripped and huge, and their opponents are Orange Cassidy and Darby Allin. Literally, two of the skinniest, palest sons of bitches on the entire roster. And who do you think won this match? Well, it's AEW, so you already know who won. The two skinniest, palest son bitches on the roster. And this is after Gates of Agony threw them to and fro, beat the tar out of them for at least 5 or 6 minutes. And they still managed to lose. This is unreal. There's nothing that exposes AEW more than when you see a visual like this. Toa Leona is rightfully no-selling offense from Orange Cassidy. I'm sorry, not Orange Cassidy, but from Darby Allin. Like, Darby is throwing chops and punches, and Toa Leona is just walking right through them. Rightfully so. Look at you and look at him. In 1982, this match would have went the other way. 1992, it would have went the other way. 2002, it would have went the other way. 2012, it would have went the other way. It's only in this generation of wrestling fans where people believe that somebody the size of Orange Cassidy is a world beater. It's not realistic. It's stupid. There is a reason why guys like John Oliver will never play Conan the Barbarian in any movie. All right? It's not believable. Not everything is for everybody. Of all the people you could have picked to have Orange Cassidy and Darby Allin fight, you picked two of the biggest, most jacked dudes on your roster. Of all the guys you could have had them beat, you picked the two biggest and most jacked dudes on your roster. This pissed me off. I was ready to walk away from this show right then and there. I was about ready to walk away, dog. I'm not even going to hold you up. After I saw Orange Cassidy Bugs Bunny these two guys with his hands in his pockets like he's ducking them and drop kicking, I'm like, what the hell? Are you serious? Like, he's going full Looney Tunes, full Woody Woodpecker out here. They can't touch him now all of a sudden. Like, what did he do? Where did he go? Which way did he go? Which way did he go, George? Woo, my hands in my pocket, so you can't touch me. What the fuck? What is this? I'm like, bruh, no. You're gonna have to, we got to pull the red card on this one, dog. This one pissed me off. I was legit hot. This is AEW in a nutshell right here, man. This pissed me off to no end. I was hot. And look, I only tangentially know Toa Leona and Khan. I've seen Khan in Ring of Honor. I know who he is. Toa Leona, I think I've seen him here and there on like the pre-show and some other things. But he gives me real Jacob Fatu vibes. Only Tony Khan can see a guy like that and then say, you know, he's a lower mid-card guy. It's like, unless you got the Warlord, the Barbarian, and Hulk Hogan on your roster, that's not a fucking mid-card guy. All right? He's not. He's bigger than everybody that was in your World Championship match 3 days ago. He probably could eat them alive. If he was to stand in the ring with them, they would believe that it was a handicap match and it was 4 children versus 1 grown-ass man. Nobody believes that these fucking midgets are that good. It's not believable. It's stupid. All right? You're insulting our intelligence to get me to believe that in a fight, Orange Cassidy will beat up Khan. Nobody believes that. Well, it's pro wrestling and it's not real. Well, that's the problem. You know, the problem is we've gone so far into the realm of fantasy that you have some people doing magic, and then you got this shit is basically magic. This is the equivalent of Alexa Bliss disappearing and reappearing and shooting fireballs. It's the same level of realism. And not in boxing, not in UFC would you see some shit like this. You wouldn't see no shit like this in the NFL. No one would ever see a huge wide receiver, big dude, 6'8", you know, can run Olympic level sprints, and they put the smallest fucking safety or corner that they got on them. They would never do nothing like that. They're not stupid. But Tony Khan is. Speaking of stupid, let's move on before I get too upset. I'm already sweating. It's hot. It's 70 degrees at night in Detroit. I'm not in a good mood. Hook, another fucking bulletproof midget. He comes out there and he's not even a promo guy. So what the hell does he want, really? That's the first thing I'm thinking of is what the fuck does this kid want? You know, like, he decided to roll out of bed and come to work, I guess. So then some guy comes out calling him Pero. And I'm like, who is this guy? I know I've seen that guy before, but I don't know what his name is. So he comes out talking about why does Hook get so many opportunities and why don't La Facción and Gobernable get any opportunities, and that Rush is too dangerous for TV, and that now Dralistico and Preston Vance are going to show Hook why they should get opportunities, and then they decided to jump Hook. Then Jungle Boy came out there with a chair, and I was like, man, here we go again. Here we go again. You know, now Dralistico isn't that big, but come on. 2 skinny, underdeveloped kids. One who took like an entry-level judo class is now all of a sudden an absolute badass. If you get the fuck out of here, man. Like, I'm not buying this team beat-ass tag team of Hook and Jungle Boy. I'm not buying it. It's trash. It's crap. It's basura. It's shaisa. All right? It's not good. This sucks. And what the hell does he mean that Hook keep getting opportunities? What opportunities have Hook gotten? Hook ain't been doing nothing on this show. Hook barely been on this show. He barely been anywhere near this show. They haven't had Hook near this show in months. Is he MJF's next opponent or something? I don't know, but he's been walking around with that damn FTW belt for over a year, and it's nobody cares. You know, it's like you got the hall monitor sash, and you're like, respect my authority. Isn't that what Cartman's like? I got a belt. Respect my authority. I'm like, nobody cares about your stupid belt. Get out of my face. Your stupid belt. Worthless belt. Crappy belt. Childish belt. It's like family heirloom. It's not a championship. Next, you got Toni Storm backstage talking about being the world champion again. And she said she did everything that was necessary to get to this point. Talked about how she used to carry people's bags and all this kind of stuff. And now nobody can carry her bags, and she's the world champion. But they didn't have a feud for her to put over. Instead, they was talking about her wrestling on house shows. And I guess. I guess. There are so many people who continue this Toni Storm vindication parade that she won the world title again. That means that WWE dropped the ball with her. And I was like, okay, sure. Look, we're past this point, you know. We are way past the point of giving a shit about comparing her WWE run to her AEW run. We're completely past this. Besides the point, the only reason she is the champion right now is because Jamie Hayter got injured. It's literally the only reason she's the world champion right now. So, and Jamie Hayter can't continue. And since they had been ripping apart Thunder Rosa for keeping the title, even though she was hurt, they decided to drop the ball to Toni Storm. And she's still a lackey, though. Like, she's still Soraya's lackey. She just happens to be a world champion lackey. So, there it is. Speaking of world champion lackeys and all this kind of shit. The main event of the evening, Adam Cole and Britt Baker versus Chris Jericho and Saraya, in which Chris Jericho basically bumped all over the place for Britt Baker. He let Britt Baker put him in the lockjaw. I was just like, Jericho just really believes that working with him gets you over. And because he believes that, he's willing to do the job all the time. So he did the job here too, let Adam Cole pin him. And Saraya was well protected. They even had her girls run down there to jump Britt Baker. But they did everything they could to make it seem like Chris Jericho is being a benevolent king and is willing to help Adam Cole get over. In reality, every time these two hook up, Adam Cole looks worse and worse. Jericho already doesn't look good, but Adam Cole doesn't look good either. Both of them were being outshined by Britt Baker. And Saraya is basically a scarecrow. She exists, you know, she draws breath, but she doesn't do much more than that. The match was fine for what it was, I guess. All the spots where Britt Baker super kicking Jericho, putting him in the lockjaw and all that kind of stuff, it was just Jericho trying to help Britt Baker get over. But it was a joke. This whole damn show was a joke. This whole damn company is a mess. I'm greatly disappointed in this show that you would serve a triple threat match full of fucking bums like this. I'm disappointed that you would put Nyla Rose on television. Nyla Rose has been in this company since 2019 and is still just not worthy of making air. It's ridiculous. It's pathetic. Trying to smash over Chris Statlander still. Everybody's kind of rolling their eyes. No Wardlow. I don't know why Wardlow didn't show up. I don't know why Christian wasn't there. I get not trying to focus on the same people every night. I get it. But you needed some follow-up from the show outside of the world title match. And none of the world champions, well, I guess Jungle Boy was there and Darby Allin was there. But there was no real follow-up from the world title match. Just MJF saying that you're running out of time, running out of contenders. And him, of course, still making fun of Darby Allin for losing to a headlock takeover again. Just a whole lot of nothing. There's nothing on this show felt major or must see. I should have just watched 30 for 30 on American Gladiators. Like I should have just watched it. I'm going to try to find a link and watch it and do a review of that because I'm actually interested in that. I'm not interested in this. This show sucks. All right, this show blows chunks of whatever the fuck you've eaten last. You know, this is a mess. Tony Khan sucks. I don't care about you bringing back CM Punk. What the hell is that going to do? CM Punk is not the Messiah. He is not your savior. He didn't die on the cross for your sins. You know, he didn't, climb out of the belly of the whale. All right. He didn't steal fire from the gods. He's a fucking wrestler. All right. He's a washed one at that. I'm AEW pissing me off so bad. between this and Double or Nothing, and let's talk about this for a second, because all the cage match dweebs have been really upset because Double or Nothing got rated less than NXT Battleground on Cage Match. So now everybody's like, oh, it's a stupid site. It's just everybody's opinion. But when you start talking about what match is 5 stars, what match is 4 stars, all this kind of shit, people immediately run to Cage Match. Look, man, I don't care. It doesn't matter whether people like NXT or don't like it. You know, it's about consistency. If you liked Cage Match before this happened, and now you're turning around saying, oh, Cage Match is nothing. It's like, it's not just that you're tribal and that you're a hypocrite. It's that you're literally wasting your breath. You know, you could have just kept that shit to yourself. You know, you literally could have just kept that to yourself. The guy who works at AEW is coming out talking about he's disappointed in the reaction to Double or Nothing, and he thought they did a good job. I'm like, bro, what the hell? Who does this? Could you imagine like Jeremy Borash or something like that in WWE sending out a tweet like, I'm so sorry, guys. I thought it was a good show. I'm sorry you guys weren't happy with our presentation. It's like, what the hell are you talking about? You don't acknowledge it. You don't sell it. You don't talk about it. You let people have their opinions and you move on. That's the thing, positive or negative. You don't really respond to it. You know, you let shit be what it is. You know, because a couple of nerds decided they liked NXT more over the weekend because they probably watched the clips and didn't even watch the whole goddamn show. You can't assume that all of a sudden everybody's turning on you. You know, and it's pathetic to catch feelings even if that was the case. It's also pathetic that they caught feelings about what Pat McAfee said. Pat McAfee made a joke about AEW's pay-per-view having 3/4 of the building empty, and everybody started running around coming up with, oh no, it was just a hard cam side. That was all it was. It was a pretty full building. I was in there. It was just a hard cam. I was like, bro, it don't matter. It literally don't matter. You don't have to respond to this shit. Not everything is worthy of your time. All right, that's why I put all this crap right here. Not everything is worthy of your time, man. Some shit you better off just not getting into. To me, arguing about the empty seats on your show, when, for starters, you can't really argue because the seats are fucking empty. That's not a point that you can even argue. What can you possibly say that's going to make me not recognize that there's empty seats on the show? You know, WWE has empty seats too. Like, yeah, but we're not talking about that right now. Let's focus on the task at hand. Got to talk to you like we're talking to a little kid. Oh, no. Don't worry about it. Focus on what you did wrong. All right? Let's tighten up what you did wrong. Then we can worry about what little Timmy is doing. Okay? You need to tighten up. You need to write better storylines. You need to present your stars better. You need to do all the things that you're doing wrong. You need to do them right. Less of the bad shit, more of the good shit. How about you, in the next time Tony Khan has the inclination to find 2 of the baddest looking dudes on his roster and feed them to what are essentially the AV club of his local high school, you need to take the pin from them and tell them, brother, you may have the money, but you ain't got the chops. If you think that I'm about to sit here and let you do this to Khan and Toa Leona, you got to be joking. Nobody in their right mind would sit back and let that shit happen. Anybody who cares about the business wouldn't let it happen. But we see that AEW people are just there for the money. They're not there to actually further the business. And it's true to a degree in WWE too. But it's never been more true than in AEW. You know, we're just looking at this place and they're just like, it's like a wrestler's Disney World. At least that's what they want you to believe. That's what Danielson is saying, basically. And it's still managing to underperform and piss people off at the same time. So now it is what it is. This show was dreadful, and there's no other way to put it. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.